back in the studio, and my next guest is Roy O'Connor, who is a member of the board of directors, but we're not going to talk too much today about whatever happens on the board. Roy, you've got some very interesting information coming up, and I'm going to turn it over to you.
Oh.
Welcome to the show.
Okay, thank you, Bob. Glad to be here. A couple of years ago, I attended a meeting of the International Council for the Aging. It was held in Crystal City, not far from here.
Oh.
But it was very interesting, and there was a white paper presented there about the dimensions of wellness, okay? And as I went through that and looked at it, and then later came back to Green Spring and thought more about it, I thought, we have such a wonderful environment here at Green Spring, in that we do really promote all of these factors. And I talked about it before, and then I was just the other day thinking about it. I said it's so important because we have so many new people who have moved in here and so on. That,
Sure.
So not to repeat myself, but again, when you think about the dimensions of wellness, there's a lot of factors that go into it. And we have a slide that I'll talk about in just a moment. But first, if I could, I will say this, that the board did meet here with the council on the 1st of August, okay?
Oh, it did.
Had a really good dialogue, a lot of good feedback, and want the residents to know that that goes on regularly at certain intervals during the year. But in the meantime, back to the dimensions of wellness. If we have a slide, we could show what these factors are. And on the screen, you know, the viewers can see those listed there. And this white paper that was written by the people from the International Council for the Aging came up with it. And I thought, you know, when you look at those factors, we have so many opportunities here that we provide.
That's right.
To the residents. And from an overall standpoint, the board is very interested in the quality of life that residents have here in the community. Well, let's take a few of them. For example, the emotional. If you talk about that, we have opportunities here for counseling. We have social workers. We have stress management classes. All of that's available to people if you wanted. Environmental, just in general, the whole environment where we live here. Our walkways, you can almost circle the whole place, plus we've got the path down to the Akatink. It's wonderful. You know, in 5 minutes, you're on a path, you're in the woods completely with nature, but it's just a wonderful, uplifting feeling, and we have that available here at Green Spring. We have our gardens, okay, and you have a chance for meditation. There's a group that has a meditation group that meets in the chapel here weekly. Intellectual and cognitive. My goodness, there's all kinds of groups that meet here. We have classes, okay? Many of the classes are actually run by residents because we have tremendous experience of all the different residents that they offer to others. Lifelong learning classes. These things are all, I think, very, very helpful to the residents as they go along. Physical fitness, we just heard about physical therapy. We have a wonderful fitness center here, plenty of opportunity. Matter of fact, it's one of the most well-used facilities we have. People are in there, they can go in 24 hours a day now if they want to.
Really?
You just put the code in and you can use it, right? So we have that, and it's an important component when you think about defining wellness. Professional, vocational, we have all kinds of volunteer opportunities. For example, in the Herald Tribune, or not the Erickson Tribune, they had an article about a couple of our volunteers who go over to the Garfield Elementary School, help with reading to the children and everything, presented an award. There's all kinds of volunteer programs, opportunities like that for people. We have tutors, individual tutors, okay? We have the English as a second language and so on. Social, needless to say, many clubs, over 200 clubs available here at the community. And of course, you know, everything from the dancing club on Friday night to the wood shop to pickleball to whatever you want to do. You know?
Certainly.
And spiritual, I mean, there's plenty of opportunities for group as well as individual spiritual meditation. we are so blessed to have our chapel here on the site. A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to attend one service that they put on for the residents of Garden Ridge. Brought the Garden Ridge residents over to the chapel and had a service. I mean, it was absolutely moving. Open to all residents, not just them. But, you know, so many times they have a little chapel service, they have weekly over in Garden Ridge, but this was a chance for them to come back into that wonderful atmosphere. The music was outstanding. Everything from a harp player to our Garden Ridge director actually chanting in Greek. I mean, it was like moving. So, you know, these things are all around us, and it's very important that these things are here because, you know, we talk about, I think you mentioned earlier in the program today, I think living here helps contribute to longer lives of many people and the good health that they're enjoying. Well, it's not just happenstance. I think in this field of senior housing, senior living, there's many people who spend a lot of time thinking about what are really the key things that you have to look for. And so this dimensions of wellness, I think, is important. I'm so glad that we have the opportunity to offer all these dimensions to people because they're all very important to contribute to the welfare of the individual and the health of the individual. So you know, I've spoke about it before, but I thought it'd be good to maybe bring it up one more time. And you know, if you go back to the mission of the board is to the mission, of course, is to look out for the overall welfare of the individual in the community. And you know, we've talked about that before in the past, but again, I just like to just quote for you on that. Our mission is to promote an active and engaged quality of life for seniors and to achieve excellence in services and programs with unmatched value for our present and future residents. We work to maintain affordability and a lifelong commitment for middle-income seniors while ensuring the long-term financial stability of the community. Well, all of these things we're doing, active, engaged quality of life, high-quality programs, services and facilities, full continuum of health care, and affordable, and then the long-term financial stability. These are things that the board thinks about all the time.
You know, Roy, the first part of the program, I made the statement that I had no data to back up my statement about being here at Green Spring adds years to our lives. I truly believe that, and I think you have solidified my thinking with what you have just presented this morning. The dimensions of wellness. All of those are geared toward the resident.
Yes. Yes.
And the well-being of that resident, both mentally, physically, spiritually.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So it's just something to think about. You know, maybe we take a lot of these things for granted every day, but it's very, very important. Bob, if we have a minute or two.
We have. Okay. Go ahead.
Another interesting topic is there's a study done and documented in a book called The Blue Zones. And I'll put that up, maybe you can see that on the
That's called
screen.
The Blue Zones.
The Blue Zones, okay? And this was written by Dan Butner, okay? It's very interesting. What he talks about is 9 lessons for living longer, okay? From the people who have lived the longest. And I've had this book now for about 2 years, and I've read through it. It's in our library if anybody wants to take a copy, you know, up there in Town Center. But this book on the Blue Zones is very interesting because what they did is they went to 5 different parts of the world and studied groups of centenarians, people who had lived more than 100 years,
Really?
and tried to understand if there were some common characteristics to this long life. And lo and behold, a lot of the things we talked about in defining wellness come back. The interesting thing is they went to Sardinia, okay? There they had 1,000 centenarians, okay, in that area of the world.
Really, that many?
Okinawa, okay, they found many. In America, they went to a place called Loma Linda, where 9,000 Seventh-day Adventists lived in Los Angeles in California, Costa Rica, and the Greek island of Icaria. And the common factor, some of them just at the top of my head, were that these people were all hardworking, physically strong, had a social network among them, whether it was in the village and family and so on, had spiritual meaning in their lives. And so these are important factors. And here they were in very remote places everywhere. So whether you think about long life this way or think about the wellness, all of these things contribute to a good, healthy lifestyle. So.
And when I think about aging, I think about Green Spring and how many people over 100 and older that we have here.
Yeah, you know, I think it's at least 6 or 7 right now, maybe more.
I heard 7.
Okay, yes.
I'm sure that somebody has that finite statistic.
Right. So anyway, it's a little bit of a topic different than what we normally talk about, but I think it's important, and I think you know, the board recognizes this. We have one particular person, Betty Price, who's a member of our board, is very involved with wellness, and she's the one who introduced me to the International Council for the Aging. So again, we're looking out for the welfare of the residents as we go forward. By the way, the board meets here this Friday. That's the South Region Board.
Is that meeting open?
No, it's just it's a closed meeting, but it's the South Region Board. It's just being held here at Green Spring. But as I mentioned, we did meet on August 1st with the council. The board members were here, and so we had a real good discussion, not only about kind of current things, but also longer term, you know, future and vision. So
after your meeting coming up, do you post or have posted on a bulletin board the results of the meeting?
we don't normally, the minutes are as such are not published, but you know, when I come on the program here, I try to highlight anything I think that the residents should be aware of. Okay, things that are coming, things that are important, that I can share with the community, obviously.
Roy O'Connor, you have been just a fountain of information this morning, and I certainly appreciate your coming on and sharing all this information with us and the viewers, and I'm sure that they really enjoy your being here today. Well, I thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob.
And now, if I may, I have some announcements that I would like to make on